Jane Veloso is now at a regular dormitory of the Correctional Institute for Women in Mandaluyong City after finishing her 5-day quarantine, according to the Bureau of Corrections. BuCor says Veloso will now undergo mandatory orientation, diagnostics, and classification. She will stay in the regular dorm for 55 days. Correctional Institute for Women Acting Superintendent Marjorie Ann Sanidad says the regular dormitory, which measures 48 by 32 feet long, is housing 30 newly received persons deprived of liberty. BuCor says its chief, Gregorio Catapang Jr., ordered the Correctional Institute for Women to translate Veloso's prison records, which are all written in Bahasa, Indonesia. According to BuCor, the translation will enable them to assess whether Veloso's incarceration in Indonesia can be officially recognized as valid prison time under their jurisdiction. Veloso is a former overseas Filipino worker who was sentenced to death and spent nearly 15 years in jail over drug trafficking charges in Indonesia. In 2010, Veloso was arrested in Yogyakarta after 2.6 kilograms of heroin were found concealed in her luggage. Veloso told authorities there she did not know that the suitcase carried illegal drugs, insisting that her recruiters merely gave the bag to her. The Indonesian government recently approved the transfer of her custody to the Philippines as her death sentence was commuted to life imprisonment. She returned to the Philippines on December 18 following successful diplomatic efforts conducted through the past years. Veloso was sent to the Correctional Institute for Women after she arrived at the Ninoy Aquino International Airport. She underwent quarantine for 5 days before being transferred to the Correctional Institute for Women Reception and Diagnostic Center's regular dormitory. Bones of alleged salvage victims were found buried in a lot in Sarangani province on Christmas Day, according to the Philippine National Police. In a statement on Friday, December 27, the PNP Crime Investigation and Detection Group says it received information about a suspected burial site at Purok 5, Barangay Baluntay in Alabel Town and promptly launched an operation. According to the PNP CIDG, law enforcement personnel secured the area on Wednesday evening, December 25, and began the exhumation with assistance of forensic experts. Eventually, several skeletal remains were recovered during the operation. PNP CIDG Acting Director Brigadier General Nicolas Torre III says a witness named Dodong tentatively identified one of the remains as a certain Jomar. Torre adds that Jomar was a resident of Bentung, Polomok, South Cotabato, who was reported missing for 2 to 3 months and was last seen riding a white Rouser motorcycle. However, Torre clarifies that the identification of the remains is subject to confirmation through further forensic analysis. Torre also assures that the investigation will continue to uncover the truth and uphold the rule of law. The Department of Health says the number of firework-related injuries recorded so far increased to 101 on Friday, December 27. According to the DOH, 32 new cases of firework-related injuries were recorded on December 27, bringing the total number of injuries since December 22 from 69 to 101. The Health Department says 80 of the total number of cases were caused by illegal fireworks, with 65 cases involving the active use of fireworks. Meanwhile, the DOH says 82 of the injuries were sustained by individuals ages 19 years old and below, with 92 of the injuries being male. The DOJ then reiterates its reminder to avoid lighting up any type of firecrackers and instead opt for noise-making alternatives like drums and horns to celebrate. It also emphasizes that the sale of firecrackers or fireworks to minors is illegal. The department also urges the public to contact the National Emergency Hotline or the DOH hotline in cases of emergency. The Makabayan bloc is sensing what it believes is desperation over the decision of former President Rodrigo Dutertes to join the legal team of his daughter, Vice President Sara Duterte, who is facing impeachment complaints at the House of Representatives. The coalition, which consists of representatives from progressive party lists, likewise says that such a move by Duterte could only be a mere diversionary tactic. For ACT Teachers Party List Representative Franz Castro, the Vice President is hiding behind her father instead of directly answering questions about the alleged misuse of her office's confidential funds. Meanwhile, Gabriela Party List Representative Arlene Brosa says the Dutertes should mind and face their own crimes. Brosa says the Vice President seems to assume her father is free to defend her when the former President faces crimes against humanity complaints at the International Criminal Court and potential charges in local courts for the House Quad Committee's recommendation. For his part, Kabataan Party List Representative Raul Manuel brands the former President's decision as part of a political theater. He calls on Vice President Duterte not to create what he calls political spectacles. The three lawmakers then urged Vice President Duterte to stop what they believe are diversionary tactics and face the allegations head-on. They say the Filipino people deserve nothing less than complete transparency and accountability from their public officials, especially concerning the use of public funds. In an interview on Thursday, December 26, Vice President Sara Duterte confirmed that her father has signified his intent to be one of her lawyers for all her cases, including the impeachment complaints. She said her father is now preparing the documents needed to join her defense team. 3 separate impeachment complaints were filed against the Vice President before the House of Representatives. However, none of the impeachment complaints have been referred yet to the House Committee on Justice. The Movie and Television Review and Classification Board is reminding public utility vehicle operators and drivers of the policy to screen only G and PG-rated content inside their vehicles. The reminder comes as the traveling public go to provinces or various places to be with their loved ones and friends during the holidays. Under MTRCB Memorandum Circular No. 09/2011, common carriers such as buses and utility vehicles are classified as movie theaters for regulatory purposes, which means that films shown on their TV screens must be suitable for all audiences, particularly children. According to Chapter 3, Section 1.3 of the Memorandum Circular, public vehicles that display motion pictures are required to follow the same regulations as movie theaters. MTRCB Chairperson and CEO Lala Soto Antonio says this policy ensures that content remains appropriate for all passengers, especially children traveling with their families. The MTRCB urges PUV operators to adhere to these regulations or face legal sanctions. Passengers are likewise urged to report any violations to the MTRCB through the agency's social media channels. The MTRCB earlier reached an agreement with the Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board that would penalize bus companies showing sensitive materials.